In the heart of West Africa, a powerful wave of environmental hope has begun to rise. An unexpected revolution, not of weapons or politics, but of roots, soil, and green leaves. The world is turning its eyes toward a country often overlooked in the global conversation, Burkina Faso. A landlocked, semi-arid nation that has long been associated with poverty, political instability, and environmental degradation is now stepping into the spotlight for an entirely different reason. Under the bold leadership of President Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso has launched a historic, continent-shaking environmental campaign, a national initiative to plant 20 million trees in what is now being called the Green Revolution. This announcement has stunned observers across Africa and the wider world. Why? Because this is not just about planting trees. It is about restoring degraded lands, reversing the effects of climate change, empowering communities, and redefining what African environmental leadership looks like. President Traoré's plan is among the most ambitious reforestation projects in modern African history. It challenges the long-standing narrative that environmental salvation must come from the outside, that African nations must wait for Western aid or global intervention to fight climate challenges. With this plan, Burkina Faso is claiming agency over its future. To truly understand the significance of this moment, we must first understand the challenges Burkina Faso has faced. Situated in the Sahel region, a transitional zone between the Sahara Desert to the north and the savannas of West Africa to the south, Burkina Faso has been deeply affected by desertification, drought, and soil erosion for decades. Over 40% of its land is already considered degraded. Rainfall has become unpredictable, seasons have shifted, and rivers have dried. These ecological changes have had devastating consequences. Food insecurity has increased, rural livelihoods have collapsed, and mass migration from villages to cities or across borders has accelerated. In the face of this crisis, past governments offered limited responses. Most environmental policies remained on paper, and very few large-scale restoration programs were ever fully implemented. But now, under President Traoré's young and energetic leadership, the nation is witnessing a dramatic shift in vision and urgency. On June 24th, standing in front of a crowd in Ouagadougou, the capital city, President Traoré officially launched the campaign. His message was not technical or bureaucratic. It was emotional, patriotic, and unapologetically bold. "This is not a government project," he said. "This is a national movement. We will plant trees in every village, every school, every neighborhood. Burkina Faso will be green again, not in words, but in action." The plan involves the planting of 20 million trees over the next 18 months. But what makes this different from past efforts is its deep integration with science, community participation, and sustainability principles, rather than relying on fast-growing foreign tree species that often fail to survive in harsh conditions. The program focuses on native species, trees that are naturally adapted to the local climate and that provide both ecological and economic benefits. Trees like the baobab, known as the tree of life, can survive extreme drought and provide leaves for food, bark for medicine, and fruits rich in vitamin C. The shea tree, from which shea butter is extracted, is already a major source of income for many women's cooperatives. The acacia improves soil fertility, supports livestock, and grows rapidly even in poor soils. By choosing such species, the plan isn't just restoring landscapes, it's building economic resilience. A nationwide network of community nurseries has already begun to take shape. These nurseries, often managed by local youth, women's groups, and schools, are growing millions of seedlings that will later be transported to planting sites. In a major innovation, the government is deploying solar-powered irrigation systems to help water young saplings during the dry season, a critical need in a country where temperatures frequently rise above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. But the Green Revolution goes beyond planting trees. It is a comprehensive environmental movement. Schools are integrating climate education into their curriculum. Farmers are being trained in agroforestry, a farming method that integrates trees and crops to improve soil health, prevent erosion, and boost yields. Religious leaders, village chiefs, and cultural figures are being invited to promote tree planting as a national and spiritual duty. And in an effort to ensure accountability and transparency, the government has launched a digital monitoring platform that uses GPS data to track every tree planted. Internationally, this initiative has made waves. In neighboring countries such as Niger, Mali, and Chad, also heavily impacted by climate degradation, leaders are reportedly studying Traoré's plan and considering similar strategies. The African Union has praised the campaign as a model of grassroots environmentalism. Organizations such as the UN Environment Programme, the African Forest Forum, and Greenpeace Africa have offered technical support and funding. There is also growing interest in linking Burkina Faso's tree planting program with the Great Green Wall Initiative, a pan-African effort to create a massive green belt across the continent. Of course, no plan of this scale comes without challenges. Critics warn that planting trees is not enough unless they are protected and nurtured for years. Many African countries have tried similar projects only to see the trees die due to neglect, grazing, or land disputes. Traoré's government appears aware of these pitfalls. They have announced strict anti-deforestation policies, expanded ranger patrols, and are offering incentives for communities that achieve high tree survival rates. In some areas, local residents will be able to adopt trees and receive small cash payments if the trees survive and thrive after a year. At the center of this campaign is a shift in national identity. For a long time, Burkina Faso was seen as a victim of colonial exploitation, of drought, of terrorism, of economic hardship. But this new movement is rooted in agency and pride. It says, we can heal our land. We can restore our forests. We can create our future. President Traoré, still in his 30s, represents a new generation of African leadership, one that combines military discipline with environmental consciousness and grassroots connection. And what of the people? Early signs are promising. In towns like Koudougou, Bobo-Dioulasso, and Dori, thousands of citizens have volunteered to take part in planting efforts. School children are writing poems about the trees they're planting. Farmers are building windbreaks and learning composting techniques. Women's groups are forming eco-cooperatives to sell seedlings and manage nurseries. There is a sense that something truly transformative is happening, not just on the land, but in the hearts and minds of the people. As the rainy season begins and the first millions of trees take root in Burkina Faso's dry soil, the world watches with cautious hope. If this plan succeeds, it could change not only the ecological fate of a country, but the way the world sees Africa, as not merely a continent in crisis, but as a continent of solutions. In the end, President Ibrahim Traoré may have done more than launch a tree planting campaign. He may have launched a new chapter in Africa's story, a chapter of renewal, self-reliance, and green revolution. And perhaps, in the silence of the Sahel winds, as the leaves begin to rustle once again, we are hearing the beginning of that story take root. As the sun sets over the golden plains of Burkina Faso, the silhouettes of newly planted trees stretch quietly across the land, small symbols of a mighty ambition. They may seem fragile now, but each sapling carries within it a story of resistance against environmental decay, a story of unity in the face of adversity, and a story of a nation daring to dream beyond crisis. This is not just a campaign about greenery, it is a declaration that even in the harshest conditions, life can return. That leadership is not measured only by power, but by vision. That change does not always begin in wealthy capitals or global summits, but sometimes from the scorched soil of a forgotten corner of the world. Burkina Faso's green revolution is not perfect, and its path will not be easy. But if it succeeds, if even a fraction of those 20 million trees survive and thrive, it will prove something extraordinary. That with courage, community, and commitment, any nation can reclaim its destiny. So the question now is not whether trees will grow. The question is, who will follow? If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more powerful global stories, and share this with someone who believes in the power of change.